Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Discuss Cafe, where we bring you insights and stories from some of the most influential and dynamic professionals in the legal industry. Today, we are thrilled to have Kashika Sinha on our podcast, who is currently working with JLL. Now, let me tell something about Kashika. She's a graduate from Symbiosis Law School, Noida, and she has also held pivotal roles at renowned organizations such as EY, Atkins, and Volta, showcasing her expertise in contract management, client negotiation, and compliance advisory. So let's welcome Kashika to the podcast. So, Kashika, thanks a lot for joining Let's Discuss Cafe today.
Thank you, Aviansh. The pleasure is all mine. I would like to express my gratitude for having me here, and also thank you so much for giving me this platform to express whatever little bit of journey I have come across while doing this
Glad
thing.
you are very humble. I don't think we have done good enough to be given gratitude or something. We're just trying to create engaging content. So let's move on. Kashika, could you share with us the journey that led you to become a legal manager counsel at JLL?
I started with Symbiosis. That's a college in Noida, Symbiosis International University. That is one of the branches that is there in Noida. In 2016, I graduated. And however, during my college time also, I was doing lots of internship in law firm, in high courts, and in company as well. So from the very beginning, I had this inclination towards company because I thought that gave me a bigger picture always. Why? Because in a law firm, there's one deal or one contract is there, right? And then once you draft the contract, negotiate it, and just close, sign, done. Now, when in the company, when you move, you see how the contract really comes into the play when in the real life, like how you are actually implementing the KPIs or liquidated damage clause or indemnity clause in the real life, like how the claim is coming and how how we are going towards litigation and things like that. So that gave me a more, like I thought that it gave me a more visibility on what is actually happening, and it is also somewhere connected to my interest in how the business actually works. So that's why I decided to start with in-house, and then I moved to Calcutta for some reason. And in 2017, I started with Volta. It's an in-house service provider company, mainly providing radiation services and commissioning and inspection and things like that. And I was, since it's a new office that at that day incorporated at that point of time in Calcutta, I was the sole legal member. And being the sole legal member, everything was kind of entrusted on me, be it the contract drafting, due diligence things, and also visiting the courts, consumer matter if they have any. So that gave me a bits of everything, and also an exposure towards all the aspect of companies, compliances, and what are the secretarial things that I need to take care of, what are the agreements and things like that. So I worked there for 1 year, and then I was sure that I would like to further venture towards this part of aspect in the corporate world, knowing more about how business and legal really intersected in real life. That I joined EY. EY was not I was not in their in-house team. I was in their service line wings, where I was a part of their contract drafting solution. I joined EY in around 2019, and they were already using automation tools for contract drafting. So I really find that fascinating. Like the AI we are talking about today, they were already using those tools to provide contract drafting and contract lifecycle management solutions to their client. I was working for their one of the big client, Unilever, and I was working. And what we used to do, we used to draft the contracts for all those different jurisdictions. Over there, I gained a lot of exposure towards variety of contract that we have. I was never aware that a company have to enter so many of different kind of contract, joint venture, SaaS, service agreement, merchandise agreement, marketing agreement, things like that, and tripartite agreement, and the AI part that I was explaining, right? So there used to be plugins, and you used to enter the detail, and then you used to automatically generate the vanilla contract. We used to call vanilla contract because they are boilerplate terms and nothing greater than that. So those were the things that we were used to do. And I did that for 2.5 years and 3 years. And I found that I would like to expand my horizon a bit more. So that's why I've joined JL. JL is a real estate company, completely different from what E&Y was. E&Y, where they was mostly restricted to contract drafting, and they were the service provider in that domain. But JLL, I was in their in-house team. I was put up in Bangalore. And over here, my exposure was a bit larger than JLL because not only contract, it was also legal advisory, stakeholder management, setting out the process of how to increase the efficiency in the team, how to train the business to understand that this is, and also how to solve the common query, compliances, and also EHS. And if you know, JLL is a real estate consultancy company. It's a Fortune 500 company, and it has a presence across 92 countries. And I was responsible for managing the IFM. They're one of the service lines, facility management. And I am responsible for managing their facility management, service contracts, and vendor agreements, and all the compliance for India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. So over here, I was given an exposure of not only the drafting, the compliance aspect of it, and how the labor compliance is actually working, what are the gratuity clause, why we need to take care of that, and what are the claims that we get. So yeah. So that has been my journey quite far, like from a service provider, professional services. I've been in the service industry only, but the exposure is a different aspect. Like first, it was a legal team of a service provider industry used to go and supply the services, like irradiation services and inspection. EY was more into contract drafting using AI solutions and tools management. And now JL is completely different with respect to it's a mainly a manpower oriented industry where they are supplying the manpower for facilitating your offices and things like that. So what are the labor issues that come? What are the labor compliance that I have to take in mind? We know we don't need to take any liability just because our persons are going there and performing services. So yeah, those are the journey that happened so far.
That's interesting. And we all have seen the JLL logo, right? Because they a lot of time is plastered over very posh buildings or posh offices around, right? But I understand very few people actually know what JLL does, right? Because I've been given this introduction by a very good friend of mine. He used to work for JLL, right? So for our listeners, would you care to give a very crisp description of what JLL does and what a typical day of yours looks at JLL?
So JLL is basically a real estate consultancy services. So when you talk about real estate and everything that is associated with real estate, JLL does it in a whole.
Right.
Whether they're doing it in India, whether they are doing it outside the world, whether it's construction, brokerage, lease admin, property development, like starting from suggesting you to where to invest your property, whether you have to construct the building. Like, for example, if an MNC comes, whether to suggesting the MNC, whether to buy the land or or take a property from the developer, to how to develop that property, the designing, the construction, what is the cost that will be involved in it, what is the facility management, everything. So it is like everything with related to real estate, almost everything. That is the crisper definition.
Yeah, great answer there. So my next follow-up question is, what a typical day looks like for you?
Yeah. So a typical day begins, I told you, I work in one of the service lines. So that is a facility management, right? Wherein we manage the facility of the client, like Oracle, Facebook. They have a big offices. We manage their facility. So we have two types of agreement, one with the client and one with the vendor for subcontracting. So my typical day starts with what kind of agreements are there, reviewing of the agreement, then talking to the stakeholders. There are two agreements. So for the client agreement, if there's some negotiation or the deals or RFP that is going on, talking to the stakeholder on understanding what we can negotiate on, what are the point where they can let go. So contract negotiation and drafting and talking to the stakeholder and managing my contract risk takes majority of my time. Second time will come with respect to the vendor agreements, wherein again, what are the issues that vendors are facing? What are the claims that we are getting? So claim management, little bit of advisory, where that person takes away around like contract drafting, negotiation, formulating the strategy to come to the client so that we close the deal as soon as possible. That takes majority of my time. Apart from this, stakeholder management, then compliances, and a little bit of advice. And now, right now, I have few juniors, so training them, mentoring them, and setting out the process to increase the in-house team efficiency. That also takes a little bit of time, not in a typical day, but yeah, in a week, I have to also think about that and strategize that.
Wow. So with your specialization in commercial contracts and statutory compliance, so we know you have worked with AI, right? And you have worked with commercial contracts before. And the combination of AI and commercial contracts is pretty used case, and you have worked on such tools. Do you think there is a potential for AI to disrupt some of the tasks or problems that are faced by in-house counsels in statutory compliance area?
So in the statutory compliance area, the one of the challenging part is to keep a regular monitor of what is going on, what are the new legal compliance that has come up, and how we should align with ourselves with it. So AI tool, right now we have not been adopting AI into that extent where they can just guide us that these are the new compliances that is coming up, and you have to accordingly change your agreements to that. So, for example, what happened, sometimes there is some development in some labor compliance aspect, and now we have to change some particular clause in that contract, and it is applicable to all the 40 or 50 or 100 vendors that we are employing. So, over there, the task of doing that, entering into that addendum, and that things get sometimes very monotonous and overbearing task because you are doing the same thing over all the 50 or 100 contracts, you are replicating the clauses. So over there, I think AI can take a step, and that is one of the challenges we do face sometimes, where any single change in the law and we need to go back to the drafting and addendums and things like that.
Right. And sometimes keeping up with compliances can be burdensome as well, right? Because, compliances can be coming from 50 organizations, right? So just because you are a real estate company doesn't mean that, foreign investment compliances are not coming into the picture. Sometimes they might, sometimes they don't. So keep manually going and keeping yourself updated. That's a burden itself, isn't it?
Exactly. For example, if I give you an example, if I'm providing security services in Maharashtra and Haryana, there are two different compliances that I need to take into account. So I need to pass on the two different sets of guidelines and regulations to my vendor for two different states. So the state-wise compliance is also there. Yeah. Statewide legal compliance, the Factory Act, and Shop and Establishment Act, these are all state-centric, wherein it varies state to state. Typically, the number of hours also varies sometimes state to state. So over there, the problem lies where keeping it up, and also keeping in mind where your site locations are actually, where you are performing the service. Because most of our clients are pan-India. So you have to also to keep that in mind. So all those are a little bit of challenge where that man-hour work that increases.
Absolutely.
Though it is not something which is brain stimulating, it is very simple. You have to just keep in tab, but it takes your time.
Absolutely.
Right.
And these days, in-house counsels of majority of MNCs are not doing just the legal work of India. They are also doing the legal work of, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and all the neighboring countries, right? A lot like Singapore as well. So then you don't have to just worry about Indian compliances. You also have to worry about what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. For example, most of the clients now enter into the global agreement where they have one agreement globally and they form a local agreements for different countries. In that, you have for every country, there has to be a local clause that is applicable to them. And also the tax implications. So that's what the tax, finance, legal, everything goes all together in a contract.
Wow.
And sometimes keep it up to it, if I get assistance through AI, where they can say that these are the legal regulations that is applicable for particular countries. Yeah. These are the plugins. So that will be a good help.
Absolutely. So moving on to the next question, you have mentioned a strong inclination towards human rights and finance law. How do these intersect in your current work?
So human rights, with regards to human rights, I told you that our company, mostly they are labor-centric because we subcontract most of our work. For example, it's the facility management services, right? Where we manage the facility of our client. So there are works like janitorial work and labor work where we employ blue-collared person. So we do formulate the policies to make sure that they are as per the legal compliance. Apart from this, we also are coming up with different kind of projects and policies in line with what is there in the legal regulations. In regard to, for example, currently I'm working on one of the projects wherein we are trying to make JLL more friendly towards people with disabilities, right? So these are proper act under the law which talks about that there should be infrastructure which should be accessible, friendly to people with disability. And there's a proper United Nations guidelines and charter on them. And government wants us to follow it. So we, being a real estate service provider, we would like to have such policy inculcated in our HR system, as well as we also provide such policies as an advice to our client to make their infrastructure more friendly with regards to the people with disability. So currently I'm also working on this project which allows me in some way, in small way, to deal with this human right aspect, where I'm trying to make the place more friendly towards them, because when you sit together, we don't distinguish, right? We don't think about that there might be some people who are not feeling as equal as we are, because we don't have any disability kind, right? I have also interviewed some people who are having people with disability, and I have also spoken to them in order to understand what they actually go through, right? Though we don't make them feel like that, but in some way, we don't intentionally make them feel like that, right? If intention is the correct word, but in some way they might feel something different is there, and that is the thing that we are coming up with, and that is the thing I am liking. One of the aspect is that.
Wow. I'm really happy to hear that JLL is doing this amazing work and you're part of that team.
No, some of our competitors have also been certified to be the best place for people with disability. So we are also in that loop to formulate such policy, engage people with such things, so that it become more inclusive culture to promote that.
Wow. So tell us about SLS Noida, right? Because it's like a sister institution of Symbiosis Law School, Pune. So have you ever visited there? What's same about Symbiosis Law School Noida, and what's different about Symbiosis Law School Noida when we compared it with the original parent institution?
See, this is the same college, and we're coming under International University. So it's the same college. They opened a new branch in Noida, which was in 2011, and I was a part of the second batch. So the same thing would be the curriculum, the fest, the module, their exams and semesters and things like that. The different things would be the infrastructure. Maybe they have also come up with a new campus. So yeah, so that, and otherwise everything is same. I think that Symbiosis has a very strong alumni network. So we still go and lean into ours as alumni. We still have that group. We still maintain those connections where we still take a leverage from being the part of Symbiosis. So yeah. That is there in Pune and Noida also. That is the best part.
Absolutely. And being in Noida, you are very close to companies, right? So all the all the companies which are based out of Delhi NCR, right? It's approachable. Being in Pune, you don't have that much access, because even though Pune and Mumbai is like 2.5 hours away, but 2 or 3 hours, depending on which train you're taking, right? But still, it seems like a very different world. But if you're staying in Noida, you can easily go and intern in Gurgaon, right?
Yeah, that is there. Yeah, the exposure is there, but I think all the big law firms are there in Mumbai also.
Right. So I'll ask you a controversial question. Is that, when people from Symbiosis come in and it's like, ye to Symbiosis Noida hai. So Symbiosis Pune people always get a preference. So do you think that's true? And if yes, how can we change that?
I don't think that is going to change in the next 10 years, because Symbiosis Pune is a very old institute. They have a heritage, they have a legacy, and they will always use that you guys are like 10 years old. We are here for a generation. So I think there's no point of fighting that battle on which is better. But there's a bit of thing like, yeah, you're from Noida, we are from Pune, we are the original.
Yeah.
But again, the network and peers and everyone, they will help you wherever you are. So it doesn't matter at that point. But yeah, from a joke perspective, they will always be this thing.
Yeah. See, the same thing happened with most of the national law schools as well. So if you look at the national law schools ranking, a lot of times aligns with their inception date. So the older a national law school is, the better the ranking it would have. But somehow National Law School Delhi jumped,
Yeah, that's what
like
I saw.
this rat race, right? So National Law School Delhi is quite late to the party, but
Yeah, it was very late. I think it was in 2010 or 11. They also started with that.
yeah,
Sorry,
it's 2008 or 2009. I think they started in 2009 because I gave the examination for their first batch. I wasn't selected, but I did give the examination. So I think they started in 2009. So somehow they skipped that rule, right? That the older the college is, the better ranking it would have, right? And I think in some way, not joining the CLAT also helped them because they're only one of the, I think, the only national law school which is not part of CLAT, right? So I don't know what is the current scenario these days, but
one of the yeah.
right. So do you think Symbiosis Law School Noida somehow by not using the Symbiosis name would have had a better chance of creating its own legacy?
I don't think so. I think it's good though because I don't think so because there are lots of law schools there.
Right.
Noida,
Right.
in Noida, so the symbiosis word is only the thing that is making them different. Because otherwise, there's a lot of law school in Noida only. So they were,
yeah. So that's
not adding the name would have been helped.
Yeah. So yeah. That's actually quite fair argument because I forgot, it's National Law School Delhi. So what made a National Law School Delhi different was the National Law School and the fact that it was in Delhi, which wasn't the case earlier, right? And at least at that time, there was no National Law School in Mumbai, right? So that's also kind of helped them because there was no National Law School in the two most important cities in India, right? Delhi and Mumbai.
No, there was a government law school in Mumbai, but that was
Right.
was not.
So that was comparative to CLC Delhi, right? Campus Law Center Delhi. So GLC and CLC were always compared with each other because they were really old. A lot of people don't know, but GLC is actually older than the LLB degree, right? So GLC started even before we had an LLB degree in India.
I know.
So yeah, GLC, you can't compare with the heritage of CLC and GLC. So they are definitely the original father and mother. I don't know which one is father, which one is mother, but they should definitely be considered that, right? So now we are off this interesting topic. We have a surprise for you. So we want to play a rapid fire round with you in full Karan Johar style. You have to answer the questions very quickly. So are you ready?
Yeah. Where are the lights? These are lights. Anyway, yeah. This light.
You should be asking for hamper, right? We have a lot of people ask for hamper. So we'll get you a hamper. Maybe it won't be as good as the Karan Johar one, but
okay. My expectations are very minimum.
Right. You like
I thought about light.
you like ये तो गरीबी देख रहे हैं. Hamper इनकी बस की बात है ना.
Yeah.
So let's play the Garib rapid fire round. The first question is, which is your favorite legal drama series?
I don't watch legal drama series. I don't know. I have not seen any. So maybe some.
Pass.
I have not seen so. Because I thought that it is bad guy. Abhi yahan idea dekhega by that type stuff. I don't find that. I have not seen any legal series. Maybe some random movies. But series, I find it fake.
all
Twist of drama.
all legal stuff is majority by fake, right? Like we used to
Yeah, if you want to see the series or drama, go to court,
see
go to district court and family court. You will see there.
that. So the next question is one law you would change if you could.
One law, what I that law has already been changed now. The dowry law, that the their immediate arrest, that is dangerous. Sometimes people used to misuse it. Women.
Sometimes,
Now,
like a lot of times, I would say. Yeah, yeah. No, obviously there are a lot of genuine cases as well.
yeah, there are win-win cases. Yeah.
But yeah, that law should have been changed. Yeah. So why that specific law? Have anyone close to you been subject?
No, that not like that. But I find it like some of the laws are like bit, especially in family law when you are dealing with divorce and all. So some of the laws are bit woman-centered.
But
Or maybe not woman-centric. Maybe they easily
have a preference.
take a leverage. They can easily use the loopholes.
Right.
Yeah. So those kind of laws, we can just have more gender equal approach towards it. But
Yeah.
due to the condition of girls in India, I think it has died like that.
Absolutely. And in a lot of ways, I think it's not a bad thing. What worries, what my 2 cents on this topic is that instead of fixing harsh laws, we should be fixing the delay in the judicial process, right? So see, the problem doesn't happen is that you have misused the law, right? You have wrongly alleged someone. See, that's just part of the problem. Now, the factor that makes it even worse is that right, there's a huge delay in actually deciding whether that allegation was right or wrong, right?
Sure.
So if that delay can be shortened, right? So even if somebody is wrongly accusing you, it will be sorted in a year or two, right? So see, there is no denying that there has systematic patriarchy in Indian society, right? So women should be given preference, but how much? That's, I think, is question for people more smarter than me. So I'll leave it to them. Next question. Recent legal development you find fascinating?
Recent legal development, I think, with regards to the data that they have come, the Personal Data Act, where the penalty is very high on the breaches. So I would like to see how it will really work, because recently I read in the news the boat co-founder, there's a huge data breach that has occurred. So I would like to see how that will come into effect, because right now the penalty is 500 crores, I think, for the data breach.
Yeah, I'm not aware. They're like I should probably read up on that. So moving on to the next question. One thing you can't start your day without.
One thing, my phone. I'm addicted badly. So
Most of
Instagram. Instagram.
Okay, I'll ask a hard question. The most rewarding aspect of your job.
Rewarding.
Rewarding aspect of your job.
Rewarding. They are rewarding. They like rewards come in bits and pieces. Like when there's a good deal that got closed and then get a recognition and award, things like that. This interview is of the right kind of reward.
Okay. A lot of people who have come earlier would like to disagree, but let's move on. Your go-to stress buster.
Go to stress. I like swimming, so that is one of the things. Dancing is also one, and talking to my friends.
Absolutely. Last question. One word to describe your experience as Symbiosis Law School.
Memorable.
Oh, wow. Very diplomatic answer. So, yeah, as we're running out of time, I'll ask just one more question, right? What is the common misconceptions about legal profession that you would like to address?
So there are a lot of misconceptions, but like with in-house, there's one of the misconceptions that they are just a support function. So it's
And that's not true.
They are just a support. Legal team for the support function, and they delays on contract without any reason. They just say that it is a risk, it's a risk. I don't see any risk.
I that's absolutely on the point. So, Kashika, thanks a lot for coming on this podcast. It was really entertaining and informative.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
Aviansh. Yeah.
Yeah, you're reading my name. Okay, I forgot who I'm talking to. So no worries. It happens to me as well. So, Kashika, thanks again. We hope
Yeah.
if we do some panel discussion or podcast, we'll be more than happy to invite you again.
Definitely. I would like to join. Let me know.
We hope our audience has enjoyed this deep dive into the legal world and has taken away meaningful insights that can be applied to their own careers. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Stay tuned for more episodes featuring incredible guests who are making waves in the legal profession. Until next time, this is your host Avinash Tripathi signing off. Thank you for listening.